We're back. The journeyman. We got Dan. We got Shamrock. We got myself, Finch. I'm a superstar. New tune came out on Friday. I'm just gonna hijack it, lads. New tune.
I mean, you did it last. We did it last week.
You
Keep
did it
going.
last week. It's 2 weeks in a row
It's
now.
on. It's on marketing
People are loving
purposes. Exactly. Getting on Spotify playlists like it's nobody's business. But we also have football to talk about. Premier League came back at the weekend. Neymar was getting up to all sorts. We've got more to talk about, I'm sure, for the week ahead. It's gonna be it's just a football chat. We're football guys. We're football dudes. And that's what we do is football. So I think first of all, we're going to talk about the Premier League. Have we already seen the game of the season, folks? That's what I'm wondering. Because I'm obviously talking
up there. I think.
Against Southampton.
Yeah, of course, we saw it.
But that was like what a way to start off the season. The two, champions of the two top leagues in England going at each other, and they were going at each other.
Oh yeah, there was no defending that game, or there was defending, and it was all really bad.
It was horrific.
That's the thing. It was. You don't anticipate when I made the decision to go down to Pat's and watch Pat's draw 0-0 with Sligo because
fun. Yeah,
I'm a homer, but I just saw Patrick Bamford scored and I was like,
yeah,
Patrick Bamford scored.
I went out for this game. I socially distanced in the pub and I talked so much shit about Patrick Bamford before that game started. I knew he was scoring because of it, but we talk shit about him on this show.
But this is the thing, Bamford scored, which is one thing, but Van Dijk makes a hideous error.
Gave it to him.
And that's another, and you're like,
yeah,
this is a bit mad. This is a bit much. But that was a superb match. It was just a great match.
Oh yeah, great goals too.
Exactly.
Firstly, yeah, Salah's goal was great, but then Klick's goal was unreal.
He finished that so well.
His first touch on it too.
Dan, have you seen? Yeah, I got stuck in my throat. Have you seen Liverpool defend this badly in the last 2 or 3 seasons?
I mean, towards the end of last season they were, but that was the league was wrapped up. This was bad, but it's first they always concede a ton in the first game. I mean, they only conceded one last time, but that was against Norwich. But
and
the start of the
season,
season,
scored more as well.
Yeah, they didn't play well that game either. But I don't know. I'm not that worried yet because I know this team.
I think it's one of those instances whereby you have a Liverpool team that the majority of the players weren't at their best. You had one player who was
Salah was, and everyone else was below par.
Brimming.
Yeah.
And then you have Leeds, and Leeds at the start and in the middle of seasons under Bielsa for the past 2 seasons have been right at it. So when you've got that combination, you never know what's going to happen. Liverpool obviously aided by two
bad penalties. Yeah, blatant. But
I think the first one's a bit unlucky. It does hit his thigh and go up into his hand.
It's unlucky.
There's a rule in the I can't remember the acronym for them, but the IFAB is it? But for allowing deflection off your own body into your hand, and there's a lot you can do about it.
I'm very much of the opinion that if you deflect it into yourself, it's still your own fault.
Exactly.
You're still the one who hit the ball.
You've deflected it into yourself. That's one thing. All right, it is unfortunate. Don't get me wrong, but Jesus Christ, your arm is out here. What are you going to anticipate? It's very unfortunate. It's not like the Rodrigo foul where he's the striker's challenge in the box.
Classic striker's challenge, right off the bench, first game.
Great impression for the £30 million signing.
In fairness, you didn't sign him.
Patrick Bamford is scoring.
You didn't sign him to be a defender.
Yeah,
I
know. But still, absolutely brain dead.
The optics aren't great. And you're turning your back on it. It's just, everything about that was terrible. I think the first penalty, as soon as I saw it, I was like. Yeah. There was debate around this. Your arm's that far out and it hits it. It's your own fault. I know.
That's what I was surprised at. We were sitting there watching the game. One of the lads gets a notification on his phone from Sky Sports saying Liverpool go 1-0 ahead due to harsh penalty. I'm like, what?
It's not harsh. It's not harsh.
I did think it was harsh. I'm on that side. If it hits your own body and you're not telling it to control it, so it's not like you're. No, it wasn't the ball into your hand. You have no idea where that ball's going to go when it's coming at you at speed.
Yeah, but you're not helping yourself then when your arm is.
No, his arm spread out wide doesn't help him, but he still that ball was going nowhere near his hand when Salah took that shot.
It was going towards goal.
Yeah.
But
But
hit his side.
on Leeds, rather than Liverpool, we all know about Liverpool. We all
Mm.
know what Liverpool can do. They're the bloody Premier League champions. But like, I saw this about Leeds, and I saw this kind of not debate. It's not a debate really, because you don't know. It's only one game in, but how they're going to be the Sheffield United of this season.
Mm.
And I think it's very easy to say because Sheffield United did so well, and they had such a distinct style of play.
Yeah.
Comparable to like Aston Villa, who didn't really, and Norwich, who did, but were pretty wojus for most.
All over the shit. Yeah.
Like, is that? I think that's too simplistic to say.
Sheffield had a really good defense. I don't really know about Leeds' defense.
Well, they don't have Ben White anymore.
Yeah, they're pretty porous. Like they.
To your immense enjoyment, Finch, you seem to really enjoy.
Listen, I don't mind. You know, fans wanting to sign players. That's like, it's kind of the culture of football fandom now. But Leeds fans needed to shut up about Ben White, because I couldn't stand it. Like, you just because you're Leeds, you know, it doesn't give you the divine right to this lad, right? Brighton have money. He's Brighton's player. Brighton are going to pay him. You signed Philip Koch, and he gave it. It was him who gave away the penalty, wasn't it?
Yeah, and he went missing for Van Dijk's goal too.
Yeah, so
the defender for that was absolutely atrocious. Like,
yeah, it was really bad. It's the one player you have to pay attention to on every corner.
And that's the thing. Like, you're hoping that, like, because Leeds are terrific attack. Like, they're probably already one of the best managers in the league. Definitely.
Oh yeah,
no doubt about it.
By the way, he held that squat on the sideline for so long. Like, every
The
time
man
he
is
come to
a
the
joke.
sideline,
The man
he
is
was
a
squatting.
joke.
The man's in his 60s.
The man is a joke when it comes to squatting. Like, he's like young ones on Instagram. Like, he's just non-stop. I think that's going to be a huge debate on whether Leeds are going to be. I think Leeds will be grand. The Leeds will easily survive. But it's
They're not going down. Yeah, but it's will they be 15th or 10th? Yeah,
you know,
like, you can see them leaking goals a lot of weeks, and
absolutely.
In fairness, a lot of their goals. Well, okay, there's only 3 to talk about, but their goals did come from Liverpool errors. Like, the first,
it was their only 3 shots on. It was literally their only 3 shots of the game.
The third goal was a good goal without any like real obvious error. The first goal, Alexander-Arnold got caught out pretty badly.
First goal wasn't good defending, but Harrison also did really well.
No, it's a really good goal. Really good goal, but
it's if that's your right back, you're lambasting them for like
absolutely
go that far, and then
but good forwards also take advantage of those situations, which is what Leeds did. Like, they do still get credit for those goals.
They do, but it's just they won't get those kind of mistakes every week. Even though that is probably the best defense in the league, it still won't happen every week.
Yeah,
I think they'll be okay though.
Yeah, you're looking at like the other promoted teams, and 3-0 defeats at home, which
it doesn't bode well.
Yeah, exactly. Now you're coming up against like Arsenal, like a rejuvenated.
So we're moving on to Fulham Arsenal.
I think move on to Fulham Arsenal, because like Arsenal look
they
good.
Were good. They look
good.
Yeah,
and now really like they're going to be even happier because Aubameyang has eventually signed the contract.
He signed, which is unreal. Like, he's so good.
Exactly, and Arsenal fans are delighted as they.
They're the happiest team in the league right now.
Yeah, but they've got.
This must be the most optimistic they've been in a long time.
Years, probably since they signed Ozil, I'd say.
Yeah, Aubameyang signs. Willian looked great. Gabriel gets his debut. Yeah, he looked great too.
Like, and then you got Fulham. Like,
I thought Fulham looked pretty good until the first goal 8 minutes in, and then they fell apart.
It's a tough ask when you're at home against a very good team. Listen, at home and away,
it doesn't really matter right now. Yeah.
Like
especially when it's still in London.
Exactly. But it's very difficult to augur what they're going to be when you're coming up against a very good Arsenal side. It's going to be when they're coming up against Aston Villa, Brighton, whoever.
Yeah, it's the 6 pointers that matter.
Exactly. Likewise with West Brom, I think, they get done in some poor defending as well.
Yeah.
Dara giving away a poor penalty. We don't like to speak ill of Dara O'Shea on this show, but it's one of those. It's hard to gauge because Leicester are a very good team, and it's not about.
Also,
you can take points off those teams, great, but that's not your bread and butter. Your bread and butter is to play against the teams that are going to be around you.
I'm a big fan of Vardy's celebration after his first penalty, running to the empty crowd like this. He's just such a shithead. I love him.
He's excellent.
Good level with Drogba on Premier League goals.
With like 40 fewer games.
Very impressive, to be fair to him. At his age as well, like considering he didn't exactly come in as a spring chicken into the league in the first place.
He doesn't really look like slowing down either.
No, like literally or metaphorically.
And what's his name? Castagna? That how you say it? Debut goal.
Had him in the fantasy team.
From Dennis Pratt as well. Belgium to Belgium.
The Belgian, you know, that I think that was Samantha Mumba song, wasn't it? Belgium to Belgium.
You are a seance.
Can we get on to the real news though?
What's the real news then?
Jeff Hendrick.
I mean,
goal and an assist.
I mean,
his goal was absolutely.
His goal was great. His assist was great too.
Can I like? I've said this on numerous occasions. I can barely get it out. When Jeff Hendrick, like, if you get Jeff Hendrick in and around the box, he's a very good player. He's a very good player, and he's got that strike on him. He's got that strike on him.
I can hit it.
Close to scoring with his left foot against Denmark in the Euro qualifier. Like he hit the exact same technique on his left foot, and it went just wide. Like he's got that about him. He's got.
So
that
you're saying play him at like a 10?
I'm not saying play him as a 10, but I definitely think that you have to give him a bit more license to get for. Like, but it's more so you have to tell him like, get yourself up the pitch, bro, because his
application has never looked great with Ireland either.
Exactly. It's not that like say in the Euros in 2016.
Oh, there's a tournament, I think. Until Brady obviously scored that goal and everyone remembers it, but like against Sweden, he's unbelievable.
Yeah, like it's not like I think it's a case of trying to get that application, you know, and get it consistently. Like I think Stephen Kenny can be the man to do it, but Steve Bruce definitely is, you know, and that's one thing that you can never deny Steve Bruce. And you know, you bring in Callum Wilson and you've got Jeff Hendrick. Ryan Fraser's after scoring in the EFL Cup as well. Doesn't look too bad. Up in Newcastle at the moment.
I thought Callum Wilson was great.
Yeah, well, you're gonna get that from him. I think you're gonna get goals out of him. Certainly, you know, you're definitely you're looking at a player.
I think everybody wants that player a striker who can kind of drift wide and get in behind and create for others too, and he does all of it. Exactly,
and then you bring in the likes of Miguel Almiron, who you know can play behind striker, can move out onto the wings. Hendrick as well is you know, he can play predominantly out on the right for Burnley, but can play centrally, of course. Like you've got players that can dovetail expertly, you know, and then Andy Carroll's doing Andy Carroll things, like
just getting in the way in a good way though.
Getting in the way in the right ways, getting in the way the right ways. But West Ham look bad.
Yeah, I was about to say it's like looking at they're so bad. Do you think David Moyes will still be in the job by Christmas?
No.
I think he'll still be in a job. He's one of those managers that he's getting sacked. The other team to sack their manager are going to pick up David Moyes.
He has an uncanny ability to get hired again.
I mean, there's that rotating thing of the 5 Premier League managers that just end up at every new club. Like Sam Allardyce will be back in a few weeks.
I'm waiting for him.
He's actually been gone for a while.
He's been gone for a good bit. Like obviously they won in the League Cup yesterday. Allaire scored twice. Felipe Anderson scored as well. Josh Cullen got a start for them. So if he starts a few more games, he'll start turning English again, I'm sure. I saw people who blamed Mark Noble. Like Mark Noble is kind of like Mark Noble and the unsettling of Rice by Chelsea. Like, listen, we all know Declan Rice can get his head turned quite fucking easily. I think
it's not a secret.
every Irish person can under the sun will tell you that. But you can't blame that for him. It's a malaise. It's a club-wide malaise. You can't just pinpoint, you know, like the captain of the team and say that's your fault.
I think it's the whole thing is
everything goes above him.
It's epitomised by things like the Ngana letting him go, like.
Exactly, and he rightfully spoke out about that as a captain.
And it has to be going pretty bad for your captain to get out and start talking to the media about this stuff. Like
Well,
that.
I think it was absolutely, like we said it
Oh,
last week. It was
it's
absolutely
justified.
he would let him go to a team that you will be battling against come the end of the season, because West Ham aren't pulling up any trees here. They're not going to get. They're not going to be like an Everton, who we'll talk about in a minute, and how they're going to, probably push top 6 this season. They're not going to do that. They're going to be down the bottom half, and I'd say 15
bottom quarter. Yeah,
exactly.
Like I think it was obvious to anybody. They had a bit of a renaissance after the restart. The game against Chelsea, they were good, and the game against United, they were good as well, and a few others. The Watford game, but it was obvious to anybody. Like they needed serious reinvestment this.
I think they're doing, but they did that in spite of everything. They did that in spite of everything.
No, yeah, it shouldn't have happened. They should have gone down based off the team that they were putting out and the way they were playing before the lockdown. They just got lucky that it all came together for those 9 games or whatever it was. But like anyone with any football sense knew that they needed new recruits.
Yeah,
and probably a new manager, but they're not going to get rid of Moyes just after he kept him.
And also, Tarkowski doesn't seem like he's going to be going. The rumor was that Issa Diop and Sebastian Aller were being offered to Lyon for Moussa Dembele, but Moussa Dembele is not going to go to West Ham.
He was just in a. He just made a Champions League semi-final.
Exactly, like not in a million years would he do that.
And on top of that, why would Tarkowski go to West Ham? Burnley are the most stable club in that league almost. Like, they're never changing anything.
And Burnley is one of those clubs that makes defenders look good. Like I'm not saying Tarkowski isn't good, but he's in the perfect system to make him look as good as possible.
Exactly, Michael Keane.
He looked a much better defender at Burnley than he ever did at Everton.
Exactly. Speaking of Michael Keane, Everton, they got off to a win.
They looked great.
At White Hart Lane. I hated that the graphic that was on Sky about the top 6.
It's stupid.
Like,
I didn't see it. What is it?
I was like,
they hadn't won in like 42 away
games against a team.
I did see that actually. Yeah.
It's like, and they hadn't won since like 2013, was it, against United?
Yeah.
Like, that top 6 that has had Leicester in it more than once. Like
it's been all over the place.
Pretty derivative, but they were excellent.
Yeah, they were
excellent. I'm starting to eat my words over Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
Header. It was some header.
Great header.
I think he's if you're setting your team up like that, he is the perfect striker to get the best out of everyone around him and then get a few goals himself. I thought he was brilliant. And I thought Ancelotti made a big call in just starting that midfield. The midfield.
All 3 of them.
All 3 new signings. But it worked.
I thought James was great. It was a quiet enough debut, but everything he did was perfect.
Exactly, like understated. But I thought Tukuru did very well. I thought the best of the 3 of them was Alan. Like he was.
He looked really, really good. Like
he was just setting the tone completely. He was getting stuck right into the like. I didn't understand why Spurs signed Højbjerg. I don't really fancy him as a footballer, and
I think he's very plain. Like
I just looking at him like
Spurs are just flying through midfield signings.
You're not wanting this at all. Like also special shout out to Seamus Coleman, who just like Coleman against the best wingers seems to be at his best.
He just shuts them down.
He point blank shuts them down. Like it was.
He seems to play to the level of his opponent.
It was Mane last year in the Merseyside derby at Goodison, where he was man of the match and he completely he was absolutely superb. Heung-min Son just didn't get a tap. He did not get a tap, and and you're going like the Irish fullback debate.
Matt Doherty.
So everybody now was like, oh well, you have to play Coleman because
Doherty's still way better.
And Doherty. But here's the thing. I'm going to wait and see for a couple of weeks to see whether this whole debate about Doherty as a right back.
A full back versus a wing back.
Yeah, exactly.
He didn't look comfortable in a 4. And he didn't look it for Ireland.
He did get forward enough to nearly score.
Yeah.
But that kind of goes back to the argument that he's better in a 5, where he'd have a lot more license to go forward without the worry of exposing himself. I think I still think it comes back to Coleman as a centre back, a right centre back.
I completely agree. But the reason why I think that debate kind of swarms is because Enda Stevens plays as a wing back but nobody goes, "Oh, can Enda Stevens play as a fullback?" The reason why is because we haven't got an alternative.
Yeah, there isn't a secondary left back.
You know, like nobody's calling for Greg Cunningham. People are calling for, say, Ryan Manning, but Ryan Manning's not even a left back or a wing back. Chap's a bleeding number 10. He's just out there for QPR, like. But I think Everton
look good. Spurs, I thought, were terrible.
Spurs
are going to have to make some changes, and
it looks like they're doing it
for them.
I can't wait for Gareth Bale to come back. It's going to be so weird.
I really don't understand why they're doing it. I first of all, I still find it hard to believe that Daniel Levy's going to pay the wages that Bale demands.
I think that, like, listen, it's all coming to a head and all. I think Real are gonna have to pay some of them wages. They're going to have to pay some of them wages.
They're gonna have to split it, like
the Alexis Sanchez to Inter move,
to Inter.
They're gonna have to.
I just like Spurs can afford it. They don't have any European football, or no, they do. They have they have Europa League, but they've no revenue from the Champions League.
They didn't really sell anyone. They lost Vertonghen. His money's freed up, but that's about it.
It's kind of off the wage bill.
Spend
but they've already signed players already.
Spend the Vertonghen money.
But it's I'm just wondering how are Bale and Kane gonna like share the load when it comes to taking shots, because they both love to shoot. Like I just don't know how that from. I'm excited to see the two of them play together, because I don't know how it's gonna work.
You're like, you have to sacrifice in order to be to be part of a good team and a good ethos. It's going to be very difficult for Bale to go in there after being away for so long and being in Real, which is not a basket case, but it's a pressure cooker.
Maybe
all the time.
Maybe they're coming full circle and signing them to play left back.
Number 3 is available. Number 3 is available.
They do look like they signed.
Yeah,
Reguilon.
But I have to ask, what's going on with Ryan Sessegnon?
I think it comes back to Mourinho not trusting players under the age of 21.
It's unreal.
Even though Ryan Sessegnon has played over like 150 first team games or something.
He played a lot. He was wasn't he championship player of the season? Yeah. Along with now Fulham left back Joe Bryan. 2 in a row. Like,
that's the thing, and you're. I didn't fancy Sessegnon as a left back. I think he proved it further forward. He was better further forward.
But he's a versatile enough player to get minutes.
Exactly, it's true.
I mean, it's like at Arsenal, it's like Saka.
He didn't fancy. He didn't fancy Danny Rose either. He was like, listen, he's not particularly what you're after if you're looking for Champions League football, but he's a good player. He's a serviceable player. Ben Davies, like, again, serviceable player, but like not going to take it to the next level as a left back. Like, Reguilon is a very good player. Now, I understand United's perspective on not wanting to sign him because of the buyback clause situation. So it's almost like a glorified loan. But I'd take 2 years of Reguilon
over Ben Davies.
Over Luke Shaw.
Well, I haven't seen Reguilon enough. Like, I'm not going to pretend I've seen Sevilla play every week for the last season or any season before that. It's a lie, and I won't lie to our viewers. But I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't like to be like bent like over a barrel by Real Madrid in any transfer. I wouldn't give Real Madrid an inch. I detest everything about them, and I actually respect United's board for not going in for that deal, because obviously, like, they offered them to United. And also, I hate the Twitter narrative that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer can't attract players when it's clearly United not bothering to meet buyback club. Like, it's just people.
Like, but I think it's almost a microcosm of what United's. Now, I understand it, and that's one thing. But at the same time, United are like, well, these are our rules, and you've got to play by them. And now that's 2 clubs that have just been like, all right, shag off.
We're just not going.
We're not going to go.
And I think we're seeing that a lot at the moment. Like, same thing with like Liverpool and Thiago going back and forth. Like, it's both clubs just being a bit hard-headed, and I don't think anything's going to get done because of it.
Exactly, and the player in the middle.
There's speculation that like Liverpool are waiting until the last week of the transfer window to. And I think United were probably thinking this a similar thing until they got desperate enough to sell.
Yeah, I mean, you see it everywhere. It's the same with when Liverpool tried to get Jamal Lewis and Norwich tried to hold out. So Liverpool just said, right, we'll just go buy this other lad, and then they sold Lewis for the same price that Liverpool were offering because they realised, well, they lost their negotiation.
Exactly.
But that's both sides have to try and win the deal.
But Reguilon as a left back, Matt Doherty as a right back. Now, whether they do actually change and go to a back five, I don't know. It's Mourinho. You don't know anymore with Mourinho. You used to know where you stood with Mourinho.
I think I know where I stand with Mourinho now, and I think he's absolutely finished as a club manager. I really do. Like his 10-month stint with Tottenham has been a disaster, and I didn't see anything to change that view on Sunday.
Yeah,
Obviously, it's only one game.
I think there was a clear showcase of a manager who could evolve with the times versus a man that kind of is stuck in what he believes is right, and what he believes is right. Listen, could get you a trophy or two. Like, it's all about how much Tottenham are willing to sacrifice in order to get that elusive trophy that they so desperately want.
Yeah, like, would they be happy with 6th place on the FA Cup?
You know, well, like, to be honest, I think they take your hand off of that. I think they absolutely would take your hand off of that. I think now whether Daniel Levy would is another thing. He might say he wants trophies, but he wants Champions League football. That man, he's a money man.
He wants the money.
A lot more money in getting to the Champions League group stages than winning the FA Cup.
But the thing is that fans want a trophy.
They want silverware, yeah.
And Spurs, having not won a trophy in 13 years, that was only the League Cup. They haven't won the FA Cup. It'll be 30 years. But listen, as the song goes, it's lucky for Spurs when the year ends in 1, folks. And that FA Cup will be taking place in 2021. So I'm just saying, get your Ricardo Villa out, get your Paul Gascoigne out. That's all I'm going to say.
Right. Chelsea Brighton?
Tariq Lamptey's a good player, isn't he?
Yeah.
But like, here's the thing. I saw the Lamptey. Saw people talking about how Chelsea were like, oh, they didn't fancy him because, like, you know, he wouldn't get first team game time or whatever. At right back, and people were like, oh, that's bleeding stupid. And then Reece James scores an absolute rocket.
To be fair,
oh my god,
absolute rocket. And it's listen, it's very easy when a young player leaves a club and you're like, and they might come back to bite them. And listen, Lamptey had a very good game for Brighton, but
it happens to every big club. You get players that you let go, like.
But Reece
just happens to Chelsea a lot.
Reece James is kind of. I think I've said it before that Reece James can be very annoyed that he was born in one particular place at one particular time, because I think he should be England's right back of the future, but there are 2 right backs that are better than him.
Yeah. Pretty unfortunate,
you know, and that's like, it's, you know, England are going to have 3 right backs that would start for virtually any country in the world in, I'd say, not even a year's time.
Yeah,
to make Ireland's problem with Doherty and Coleman seem like a tiny little thing, like
like a walk in the park. Yeah, but I thought Chelsea, from what I saw, weren't great. They were certainly not defensively anyway.
The goal again, like the Brighton goal, Kepa didn't look very good for. And they have. I mean, they've signed
they're supposed to sign Edouard Mendy.
They're supposed to sign him ages ago. I don't know why they haven't announced it.
I think it's
work permit.
It's just Nice trying to make sure that it is Nice, isn't he? He does play for Nice.
Yeah, I think so. You forget which clubs with this. And
some of that crest kind of confused me. We'll get onto the French league in a while. But I think that it's just them trying to make sure that the add-ons and kind of the installments are correct.
But I made a prediction last week that I'm not happy came true, which is after 44 minutes, Adam Lallana is already off injured.
Yeah.
Like, that's their highest paid player. They put a lot of stock in him, and he's already gone in the first game.
I think Brighton knew the risks they were taking when they signed Lallana. Yeah, but I don't think they envisaged it happening in their first game.
Yeah, in the first game in the first half. Yeah, I think.
No, it doesn't seem like a serious injury or anything, but You know, he gets
It's
a lot
just-
of those 3 or
But
4
like
games out.
yeah, exactly. And then you can't get a run of games under your belt, and then you're not
Yeah.
really at full speed for any stretch.
Especially at the first year at a new club where you can't really like figure out what's going on at all.
Exactly. You need to be able to be on the pitch or be available to your manager and your teammates.
Mm.
I thought Werner looked sharp.
Yeah. I mean, he won the
He
penalty.
looked very sharp.
He's quick. Yeah.
He's a quick boy.
Didn't see a lot from Kai Havertz.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Havertz wasn't.
Havertz, he needs a lot of time, I think, to just
He would
based
just,
off
but
what I
when he
saw.
when he does,
Oh
hopefully
yeah, he's
it's
gonna be
all
great.
right. But I think as well, like Chelsea had a very strange lineup. Like they were playing Mount and Havertz and lots
wingers,
of
kind of. Yeah.
and Kante, Jorginho. Like they were playing all these what I would say centre mids. Like they play centrally, and they were playing kind of all over the place. Like
And it was a weird list of goal scorers too.
Yeah,
like you see Havertz, you see Werner, and it's Kurt Zouma, it's Jorginho, and it's Reece James.
Well, like if you get a penalty, and you're gonna put
Yeah.
Jorginho on it because he just never misses at all.
Chelsea always have someone like that too. Like before him, it was Hazard. It never missed.
And they just had the right technique to take penalties like that. I always, every time Jorginho steps up for a penalty, I'm always like, this keeper thinks that he's going to save it because he just looks at the technique and he's like, I know what you're doing.
Yeah, he's like,
time.
I've watched 1,000 of these. I know how it goes.
Yeah, exactly. And then every time Jorginho just sends him the wrong, it's fucking baffling. Like, I don't understand
it's
it.
great.
Like, it's like how Fernandes is taking penalties as well. Like that kind of hop, skip, and a jump. And
every time he takes one, I expect the keeper to just save it this time. And it just
they
never happens.
They never do.
And then.
Sorry. Well, no, yeah, go ahead. I was talking about Fernandes. We're getting sidetracked.
I was getting sidetracked too. I was saying for Liverpool, Salah is the complete opposite. I never have faith in him. He just steps up and hits it as hard as he can every time.
Listen, that's going to be my technique when I take penalties. And
for Pats.
You know yourself. If they ever need to call on a penalty taker
from the crowd,
top.
Top right. One last game. Yeah, Sheffield United Wolves.
I'd be a little bit worried about the Sheffield United fan, just off how bad they were defensively for the 2 goals.
It wasn't good, but it was also just a quick kind of lapse. It was the first, like the goals were scored within 3 minutes of each other in the first 6 minutes. It's like, it was a big lapse.
Yeah, and then you now it would take something special to recover from that, and
especially against Wolves. I'd be very surprised if Wolves threw away a 2-goal lead.
Exactly. So it's very easy to read so much into this. Again, this is the first week of the Premier League.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going to happen. Like it will take a couple of weeks to actually see what the crack is. I wouldn't read too much into Sheffield United the same way I would West Ham.
Yeah, no, but I do have a sneaking suspicion that they'll find themselves in a bit of a relegation battle. And I'm not just going off that cliched second season syndrome. I think it's been evident since the restart that apart from the Tottenham and Chelsea games, that they haven't really been at it.
They need a striker. Like I think they need someone up front who can actually run.
I love Billy Sharp, but I don't think he's the answer now.
You're looking at their striking options, and you're like
they're all championship strikers.
In fairness to basically all of them last season, I thought they all did well at certain moments. Like Lys Mousset was doing well.
They were serviceable.
And then McBurney, then Sharp, and then eventually McGoldrick scored. And
Chelsea.
McGoldrick always sort of serves a purpose in that team.
I really rate McGoldrick. I know he gets a bit of flack for his goal scoring record, but I think his general
player, I think he's absolutely superb. But I think it's proven in a 2-striker system when he drops all the way off and he allows everybody to play around him, and then he can supply balls out. And he's never in the box, but he's a striker that doesn't score goals. That's
Look, I've had to defend one of those for a long time now as a Liverpool fan.
Hey, the best place to defend is the opposition's penalty area.
There you go.
Well, that was the Premier League for last weekend. You know, you're going to see a few more. You're going to see City play. You're going to see United play. You're going to see Burnley play. You're going to see Villa play. And then we'll get a sort of better kind of view of the Premier League from this weekend onwards, I'd say. But match of the weekend is obviously Chelsea-Liverpool. It's obviously Chelsea-Liverpool.
Any predictions for it?
All I know is that there's going to be goals. I'm like, as an eternal pessimist, I'm going to say that Liverpool are going to win. But based off the last two, but like the two performances, like both teams won, but both teams weren't at their best.
Yeah.
But I think that, Liverpool have to tweak their defense, and they have the best defense in the league. Chelsea need to tweak their defense, and they've probably one of the
best defense in the
league. That's my thing is both teams looked shaky, but who do you trust to strengthen up first? The team who are bringing in the same squad from last season, or the one with a bunch of new signings?
Well, like I think that's obviously true, but Chelsea are missing.
Yeah, look here.
I'd say from last season that would really make a difference.
Even Pedro, because as you said, like it was a lot of midfielders on the wings.
Yeah, but like Pulisic had an injury and Hudson-Odoi was on the bench. Now I wouldn't bank on Hudson-Odoi being the main man still, and Bayern Munich are back after him. I
don't get that. They have too many players.
I don't know why. They just love like tricky wingers. Like fair play to them. Might get Andy Reid out of retirement for fuck's sake.
That'll be some job, to be honest with you.
But,
imagine him and Alphonso Davies on the left. Like Alphonso Davies just running past him and carrying him. I mean, I wouldn't carry Andy Reid.
I don't think you carry him, to be fair.
But no,
respect Andy Reid, though. What a baller.
Andy Reid would be calling for the give and go every time. Just pass it to me, I'll pass it right back to you. I'll stay here, you go.
And yeah, but like wherever you go, he'll find you. What a player!
But the only thing I guarantee for that game is that
cabs in
Timo Werner is going to score.
Is that? Oh yeah,
you think?
Yeah, definitely.
Prove that Liverpool should have signed him.
Yeah.
I like your perspective with the eternal pessimist, Dan. He's going to score. He's going to score. If he does score, it'll be 2-1 Liverpool. I'm going to say.
Yeah, probably.
Alexander-Arnold free kick. It happens all the time against Chelsea. It's going to be third time in a row. Or no, well, not really third time in a row.
Well, third time.
It's a case of either Frank Lampard not knowing his best team, which he obviously doesn't yet.
Well, he can't. It's an impossibility because Chilwell's not there.
Yeah, Ziyech hasn't played.
He's not even in the top four either.
Or is it Liverpool's defensive, like a one-off thing they're thinking against Leeds, or is it something a bit more worrying?
They might still be a little shaky. But
I think Chelsea can exploit it.
Yeah.
I don't know how well they'll exploit it, like compared to Leeds, because Leeds have that distinct style of play. But like if you're putting Werner up top and you pull him off against whoever,
he's tricky.
He's a tricky boy.
Yeah.
And then like if Pulisic is fit, Pulisic was unplayable against Liverpool. Like Pulisic was so let down by the Chelsea defense against Liverpool at Anfield. It wasn't even funny. It was absolutely extraordinary.
But we also have to remember that like even if Liverpool's defense isn't at its best, you've still got Salah and Mane up front. And Mane wasn't good at all against Leeds. So if he can step it up and Salah can, if not maintain hat-trick form, at least 80% of that.
Yeah, it wouldn't be too bad. You take it. You take 66.66, 667.
33. And then you also have to remember that Chelsea have Kepa in goal. That's always worth at least a potential goal.
A goal. Like, was it? He's conceded 9 of his last 13 shots.
And that's not like a recent trend either. That's been throughout his 2 years at Chelsea. It's always been.
Can I just say this, right? I'm not defending Kepa. I think he's awful. He's an awful goalkeeper. He was nowhere near worth the amount of money Chelsea paid for him. Can Gary Neville stop investigating goalkeepers when he knows nothing about goalkeeping?
Are you talking about the Ramsdale thing?
Man, can he just stop?
He's been doing it for years.
But he just always does it, and I'm sick of it. Gary, you weren't even a good right back. Well, you were a good right back.
Right? He was a good right back.
Come on, let's not get crazy.
But you work very well in a system, and you played a particular position. That position was not goalkeeper. Stop.
I remember the first time. I think it was the first time he did it. Was
Jagielka one.
Yeah, Jagielka scores an absolute belter against Liverpool in the last minute, and he says, Mignolet bent his knees too much. That's why I went into the top corner. Like, no, it was a perfect finish.
It
was a perfect goal.
I'm sorry. You hit that strike once in your career.
Genuinely, with Phil Jagielka.
And you're saying that the goalkeeper is a fuck off.
Yeah, no, it's unreal.
Ask me how. Anyway, that's beside the point. That's the match of the match of the weekend. United are playing Palace. Arsenal are home to West Ham. I think that's a definite victory.
Oh yeah, if any time Arsenal could be certain of a victory, it's this weekend.
Which means it's going to end 2-2.
There, West Ham score last night with Antonio.
Is there
dancing
anything
all
else
over
from this
the
weekend that we need to pinpoint before we move on to a couple of miscellaneous aspects?
I don't think so. I think that's enough Premier League. I don't know.
Yeah, I just think it's a big weekend for Spurs. If they do lose to Southampton, that's a very bad start for them. Obviously,
the Hoiberg derby, they're calling
it will be it will probably help to lift spirits, but it's not a great start if they do lose 2 out of the 2.
Oh, actually, one more thing about that Southampton game there. Kyle Walker-Peters had a red card overturned when the ref decided to actually check the camera for once.
Yeah, actually, fair play for actually.
It was a right call, yeah.
Correctly. Yeah.
Nice to finally see it.
Exactly. Only took
Hopefully more of that.
a whole season.
Of absolute farce, yeah, no, fair enough.
Anyway.
Speaking of farcical situations, it was Le Classique at the weekend.
Is that French?
Marseille won.
It is.
Yeah.
Delightful. Marseille won.
Always nice to see PSG lose.
Very, very, very.
PSG have been terrible since the start of the French season. But it was marred by the red card situation. 5 lads got sent off. That's what you love. Things you love to see in derbies. Loads of lads getting sent off. It's great.
Yeah, not for these reasons.
Not for the reasons that they got sent off, though.
Yeah.
That's what you don't like to see. Now,
well, there's
also the other side of this as well, which is Neymar is getting accused of
homophobia now.
Homophobia as well.
But also, the bit we kind of forget about before all this, Di Maria spitting.
Oh my God! Like this was everything. Like and like in sort of the hierarchy of evil, you know.
Racism is obviously on the top of it.
Racism, homophobia, and then spitting. But you're like it's such a weird.
It's a dirty thing to do.
Yeah.
It's up there with eye gouging. It's just things that it's crossed the line of like normal.
Exactly. Like if you hit someone a dig, it's far more understand. If you're Stephen Cluxton, right, and Jason McAteer is giving you lip, and you deck him, completely understandable. Completely
Some
understandable.
example this is
My favorite, one of my favorite charity match moments of recent history. But like it's spitting and eye gouging and just
but it's the order of events, because you hear it and you think, oh, Di Maria obviously spat at him after he said something racist, but no, he did that first, and obviously that doesn't justify whatever Alvaro said 100%, but it's just such a weird, like, why did he do it in the first place?
Exactly, yeah. Like I know, like that frustration manifests itself in like in strange.
I did
ways.
love that Neymar went right to Twitter and just said I should have hit him in the face.
Yeah, because when you hear what he allegedly said and what Neymar did, it kind of like it doesn't look like it is enough. Like it's like a little knock on the door, basically, is all he did.
Like as an advocate for punching racists and fascists directly in the face.
Oh,
I think he should have done it. I think he should have done it. I think you're absolutely like you'd be.
And also the ban for it. Proven racism needs to be way more than just a couple. Like, get him out of he's off for the season.
It's like that Kiko Casilla thing of like 8 games and whatever it was. It's like it's not good enough. Like,
no,
you know,
get him out of there for the season. Like
exactly. You know, like if you know, and like it's different in France. Obviously, I don't know what they're doing in terms of like combating racism. In terms of like you can tell what the Premier League are doing anyway.
Yeah,
with the No Room for Racism campaign and what they did with Black Lives Matter last season, but like. What are you gonna?
It's really bad.
It's awful. Like it's and then obviously Neymar as well. Neymar's gonna have to get a huge fine as well. He's gonna have to be made an example of.
Has that been proven? I didn't see much about that. The homophobia.
It's only kind of coming out now. It's because Neymar basically said, "Here, review the footage more," and now they're saying, "Oh, we're kind of seeing something from you in the footage
yeah,
too."
we reviewed the footage, and Mr. Neymar. You're a homophobe.
Obviously, it's horrible, like any sort of racist abuse, and I'd never but completely separate from that racist abuse, the way Neymar conducted himself throughout that game, like pretty much every game he ever takes part in, just would. I'm not for a second like providing a defense, but like he would strike me as the type that would come back with homophobia. He's just such an unlikable person.
It's one of those things. Like you like. You're not fight fire with fire, bro. You get kicked out of fire brigade. You know what I mean? It's that kind of situation. It's just.
But
like you can't like. That's the thing. If somebody like it's it's anger manifests itself in ways that I can't comprehend, that we can't comprehend. But it can't be done. It just cannot be done in that way, bro. You just can't do that. For
if
Alvaro,
you are that angry about
Alvaro's
something that he said, hit him. Like, just hit him. In that case.
Exactly, yeah. Like, your words mean fuck all then, bro. Just knock that chap out. Get him out of there. Spark him.
It was really worth getting a red card and a 3-game ban for literally like tapping him on the head. Like, he barely even felt it, I'd say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas
you gotta
if
go
you
all
want to
the
make
way.
an example of him, well, like, then that kind of shows that where Neymar is as well. Like, and you're like, it's just listen.
He's a detestable figure, but that should never happen to anybody.
Alvaro's a detestable figure.
Oh yeah, no, he's even
Neymar,
more than
obviously. Like, we all know, we've all talked about Neymar on numerous occasions, but this is a new low for Neymar. Alvaro, I didn't know where he was, but he's the lowest of the low now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Angel Di Maria, good baller. Don't spit at people.
Always been a bit dodgy.
I suppose,
nasty character.
Just circling back to the racist thing for a second, it's kind of baffling that anyone could say anything racist at the moment when players are literally taking the knee at the start of games for anti-racism awareness.
But here's the thing, like,
and look how much outrage it causes.
There are performative, like, certain things, and you could consider them to be kind of performative or whatever. It's like you could partake in something, but like not really know anything about it, nor want to learn anything about it, or try to change your ways. You know, like,
yeah, no, that makes sense. But it's just, I suppose, now with all this anti-racism awareness at the start of games and everywhere, and not just football, obviously, but like now a 6-game or an 8-game ban just seems ridiculous. It's it's surely like they have to look at it differently, like through a different prism.
Like, well, like, you know, you want the book thrown at him, bro. You want the whole Poxy library thrown at the chap. Like, it's get out of here. Like, it's you can't condone it, and that goes for every from obviously it never should have been a case in the first place. But like, you look at clubs can't continually defend players for, like, they can't just stroll back into the team afterwards. Like, it's a
as if like, I served my sentence. I still believe all the same things, but I served my sentence.
Go out and do something about it, bro. Like, these things aren't. They're not like, well, you know, he's a reformed character. Like, you're racist, bro.
You're getting paid all this money. You're on top of the world. All you have to do is not be a horrible scumbag.
Exactly.
It's not that hard.
Exactly. And like, and I can never, like.
In fact, you can even be a horrible scumbag. You just need to be quiet about it. Like, we're only finding out now with Mad Laetitia.
Oh my God, he's the biggest crap. Like,
he's a fucking weapon, bro.
Oh my God,
he's a weapon.
Did you see that thing? I think I shared you just on a complete side note when that like Twitter account, like, it was like, would you share my top 10 Matt Laetitia goals for Southampton? I'd love the views. And he shared it, and if you just click the video, like, a minute of commentary, and then it's like, if you wear a face mask, you're protecting others, not you. It was just so funny.
I do love speaking of, again, the tweet. One of the tweets I saw was like, every time Matt Laetitia has a shit tweet, one of his goals gets erased from memory.
He must be in the negative now, because it's definitely more than 102.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of shy publicity stunts from Paddy Power.
Paddy Power, Rovers.
Rovers are playing AC Milan.
Yeah.
That's going to be exciting. You're going to see an awful banner from an awful company. Just adorned.
What is that? I honestly haven't seen it, unless you don't want to give awareness to it.
It's just a really just garishly large sort of cover of all the seats with, like, what is it? We put pineapple on our pizza or some fucking stupid, like, wannabe comedic thing. Like,
it's just
like
it's Paddy Power. You don't associate with them.
Everything, every marketing campaign that they ever do, I hate. Like, and that's the thing. It's not even that it's Rovers or whatever. Like, I could give a fuck. Like, get your money. That's fair. But don't make your club look like a vehicle for their shite baggery. I can't stand it. To be honest, like, and literally look at the jersey that I'm wearing now. Right, this is Pat's jersey. Yeah.
That's pretty ironic. to be honest.
And there's a reason why we don't get sponsored by betting companies anymore, because you see what they do and they're horrific.
I mean, I'm gonna be real with you. I don't even know what the fuck Garuda Indonesia is, so like, it's all good.
Could be a betting company.
Yeah,
But yeah, I think especially with the likes of Rovers and Pats, and any League of Ireland club who are grounded in a working class fan base, that like is almost always linked to gambling. Like if you I've worked in the bookies for a long time. I have a little bit of authority to say this, but like there will be a lot of working class people, and they almost prey on their fan base to.
It's a predatory system, like
exactly. It's completely predatory.
And in a wider context, obviously, I don't think bookmakers should be allowed to advertise whatsoever.
No, period. Not near any
or otherwise. Likewise with alcohol. Like
the bookmakers. I'm not saying alcohol isn't bad, but the bookmakers I think are so much worse.
I think
because they have a direct you see an ad for like a beer before a match, and you're like, yeah, whatever. But if you like, they're showing you these ads right before games.
Oh yeah, here.
Get on your phone right now, lose money right now. Like.
Exactly. Like it preys on that worst instinct, and people.
And you've got Sky Sports putting on Sky Bet. Bet on this transfer, and then spelling out these transfer rumors. To make it,
that shouldn't be legal. Like they literally put out these ridiculous rumors, slice the bets in half, everyone bets on it, and then just quash the rumor. Like,
exactly. That never happened.
That's just our intern's idea of a transfer.
Get rid of that.
Anyway, back to
coming to town. AC Milan, although not the AC Milan of old, they do have Ibrahimovic. They do have the new Pirlo, Sandro Tonali. He's in the squad. Donnarumma's playing. It's not the AC Milan of 15 years ago, but still,
it's honestly it's maybe the best AC Milan in 15 years. Like they haven't been good for a while.
Yeah, they haven't been good for a while, and with Tonali signing, maybe they're on an upward trajectory. But they're going to see, for Rovers fans, and I said this at the time of the draw. I actually would be I'd be so pissed off.
It's the biggest draw you've had in years, and you can't sell tickets.
Exactly.
And to make it worse, they're almost definitely going out. Like they're not going through and getting the money that they would get from a deep run.
This is the thing. One-off games, and I think Dan McDonald said it. It's like these one-off games will never happen again because big clubs won't allow them to happen again because there's a better chance of smaller teams.
Upset, it's like 100%.
You could score a goal in the 10th minute and then just park that bus and they're gone.
It's like why does the NBA do 7-game series?
Because
that's
more
the best
often
team win every time.
The best team, the best team that plays wins, not necessarily the favorite versus the underdog.
But it gives more chance to the favorite.
Yeah,
exactly.
There's less room for a complete upset, and obviously,
I don't think they're going to win, but I think they're going to put it up to them, and it's going to showcase the league in a positive light. Rovers are by far and away the best team, in the league. This is probably going to be the last vestige, I'd say, on a European stage. Maybe, who knows? If they win, who knows? Of Jack Byrne. Jack Byrne plays better in Europe than he does in the League of Ireland. He showed that last year. He's going to show it again on the biggest stage against the best players. Graham Burke as well. I think those two, if they play well, God knows what might happen. God knows what might happen. But also, like, on a completely different note, like, there are two Irish clubs in Europe. So Rovers are playing at home to AC Milan, absolutely, sublime tie.
European elite type stuff.
Exactly. Dundalk are playing away to Inter Scalades of Andorra. The first ever Andorran team played in
good for them.
Shamrock. But like, that's a great chance for them to actually get through. Now, Dundalk, having been the absolute epitome of consistency in the league, have turned into a basket case pretty much over the last year and a half, basically ever since Stephen Kenny left. But this is a great chance to actually get to a decent stage of European competition. Now, they should have won in their Champions League tie. Now they got a chance to actually just go further in the Europa League. Like, they should beat Inter Escaldes. Like, it's just, you're playing Inter and AC, but they're not Inter, they're not Inter and AC. You feel me? But that's very exciting. So they're both on tomorrow. Dundalk have a free stream going, and Rovers are on RTE. So
I think I'll find the Rovers game.
I'll
I
find
think
both.
most people are going to watch the Rovers game.
I'll have both on. I'll have one on the laptop, one on the telly. You know, that's how we're living now. But I think that's it, lads. I think that's it. I just need to get the League of Ireland plug in there. You know.
Oh, of course, when a team is playing AC Milan, you got to talk about it.
You got to talk about it.
There was a great article actually from I think extratime.ie. It was one of those like, so who is this obscure team?
So who is
it was like, who is Rovers' opponents? AC Milan.
Oh, they're great. There's a brilliant one on Ranger. Oh, on Celtic it was actually that they did like for when Cliftonville played them. I think.
Yeah.
They're pretty damn funny. Pretty damn funny. So lads.
Oh, hey, just before we go, breaking transfer news. Leicester just had a bid accepted for Cengiz Under from Roma.
Ooh, he was a piece of hot property.
It's a loan with obligation to buy for €24 million.
I like the obligation.
I never understood those deals.
No, me neither. But they're very Italian deals. They love their loans with obligations.
Although the Danny Ings one was the same.
I still don't understand that.
And there was an obligation, and I was like, 18 million.
That was a loan with obligation post tribunal. Like he's had a weird transactional history.
He's been all over the camp. Anyway.
Also,
right.
I can't be arsed getting up to turn off my lights or turn them on. So can we end this? Because it's getting
pretty dark. I just noticed how dull we're all looking at.
Dan is going to fade any minute now. Shamrock's shining brightly. I've got my laptop burning brightly on my left-hand side just for the sole purposes of this. This is week 2 of the Journeyman. We're back, baby. We're back.
I think we're getting back in the swing of things.
Back in the swing of things.
We'll have Leo McGuinn back in a few weeks when he thinks he's at our level again.
Scott might be here too.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
Sure, look.
I don't know where that lad is, but we'll send it a search party if he's not there next week.
I've got a frame out for 3, maybe 4 people. 5, we might be pushing.
Sure. Here's the thing, right? We don't need them. We're good. We can do it on our own.
And if you're listening to this now, it just proves my point. Right, from Dan Osborne, from Shamobi Bobby O'Brien, and from Stream Big Man on all good streaming services, good, bad, indifferent streaming services, Finch, featuring Local Boy. We've been the Journeymen. You've been our humble listener. We love yous. We'll leave yous. Arrivederci.